Welcome to the LitRPG Adventures podcast. This is where we take the rules, the lore, and just the, limitless potential of tabletop RPGs and kind of smash them together into something. Well, hopefully something legendary. Today we're diving into a big one. A really fundamental question in character creation. What if you could just rewrite your character's destiny? Like, completely. What if you looked at the standard classes and thought, nah, that's just a suggestion. Maybe combine the sacred oaths of a paladin with the sneaky arts of a rogue, and then pour in some pure chaotic sorcerer power. Just forge a legend that no single box could ever hold.
Yeah, that's search for something more. That's our mission today. We're doing a deep dive and we're focusing exclusively on the All D&D Classes Explained Ultimate Tabletop Gamer 2025 long-form guide from LitRPG Reads. Our goal is pretty direct, actually. We want to pull out the most potent, the most effective, and yeah, sometimes the downright game-breaking hybrid builds from that guide.
So if you've ever felt a bit boxed in by traditional classes, or maybe you just want a shortcut to really dominating gameplay with some clever synergy,
then this deep dive is basically your technical manual, your roadmap.
Okay, so when you pick a class, right, that's arguably the biggest choice you make for your character. The source material really hammers this home. Your class choice shapes how you interact with everything.
Absolutely. It sets the rhythm of the whole campaign, doesn't it? Are you playing high heroics, divine quests, or is it more like gritty, neon-soaked streets?
Yeah, it's the lens you see the world through. A fighter sees a locked door, thinks axe. A wizard sees it and thinks molecular bonds.
Right, and when we talk about mixing those viewpoints, those classes, you gotta remember the final build is only as strong as the parts you're combining.
And that's key context here. Because the game's foundations, they got a massive shakeup in 2024. So before we even get into the cool hybrid builds, we need to talk about the mechanical tweaks that actually make this modern synergy possible. These weren't just small adjustments.
No, not at all. They seriously raised the baseline for almost every class. Let's start with the martials. Fighters, barbarians, monks. How they slot into a spellcasting hybrid now is different because of one big thing. Weapon mastery.
Weapon mastery. That felt overdue, didn't it? Took martial turns from sometimes just being eye attack to something more dynamic.
Exactly. It was often just monotonous. Mastery is all about momentum, giving you tactical choices. Every swing gets an extra little something. Maybe you shove an enemy, stun them, make them bleed.
Turns the basic attack into, what did the guide call it? A dance of choice.
Yeah, something like that. And for a multi-class character, that's gold. Think about dipping fighter for a rogue. Before, okay, you got some toughness, maybe action surge later.
But it's still good, obviously.
Still good, yeah. But now that fighter dip lets you use mastery to maybe shove the enemy back, make them waste movement getting back to you. Or even better, shove them somewhere that gives your rogue advantage on the next attack.
Setting up the sneak attack.
Precisely. So the martial part of your build is always adding tactical value, not just damage numbers. It makes dipping just 2 or 3 levels into a martial class way more attractive now. Instant tactical gains.
Okay, that makes sense. What about the other side of the coin? The casters. Wizards, sorcerers, clerics.
Caster clarity, that was the big push. They trimmed down the spell lists, got rid of some of the chaff, the spells nobody ever prepared. Ritual casting rules got cleaner. Preparation mechanics too.
So less dead weight.
Less dead weight, more punch, spells scale more predictably. So when you dip into a caster class now, you know you're getting high impact utility right away. It's clearer what you gain.
The thing that really changes the game for people wanting to blend classes, that's the unified progression for subclasses, right? That solves a major headache from older versions.
Oh, absolutely. The source guide points this out clearly. Traditionally, subclasses could be all over the place. You might get features at level 2 and 5 from one, but level 3 and 7 from another. Made planning messy.
Yeah, trying to sync those up was tough.
The 2024 changes brought in symmetry. Subclasses generally kick in earlier, and crucially at standard levels across the board. Usually levels 3, 6, 10, 14, stuff like that.
And what does that mean for us, the people trying to build these complex characters, the optimizers?
It means planning is just cleaner, easier. Your character's growth feels more natural, less jarring. When we talk about the best level dips later, we know that grabbing, say, 3 levels in Class B reliably gets you that core subclass feature you're after.
Like the Divine Soul Sorcerer's extra spells or the Battle Master Fighter's maneuvers?
Exactly. It cuts down on those infamous dead levels where you level up and feel like you got almost nothing useful for your build. Makes the whole process much more satisfying, especially for these trickier concepts.
Okay, so the foundation's solid. Martials are more tactical, casters are streamlined, progression's predictable. This is the fertile ground for these powerful hybrids. Multiclassing, then, is for players who see their character not as fixed, but as evolving, always chasing that reinvention.
The Sorkadin, the Hexblade, that ultimate slippery rogue monk.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate mechanical expression of shaping your own destiny in the game. But, and the guide is very clear on this, it demands patience. It demands planning. You really need to understand the systems you're trying to weld together. It's not for the faint of heart.
Right, we can talk theory all day, but seeing this stuff in action, that's what really sells it. I actually had a moment in a recent game that just perfectly captured why someone would go through the hassle of multiclassing, delaying those high-level single-class features.
Okay, yeah, let's hear it. Ground the theory in some actual gameplay.
So we were up against this high-level, nasty, an ancient shadow dragon. Seriously scary stuff, resistant or immune to half our usual tricks, draining resources like crazy. We were honestly on the ropes.
Sounds tense.
Oh, it was. Our main damage dealers were kind of spinning their wheels. The mood at the table was grim. Then our paladin sorcerer steps up. Now, a pure paladin, even a high-level one, right? They only get so many spell slots for Divine Smite. They're half-casters. Their top-tier magic comes really late.
Limited fuel.
But this character, built specifically as a Nova Striker, they were sitting on a pile of higher-level sorcerer spell slots. We're talking 5th-level slots, stuff a pure paladin wouldn't sniff until way later in the campaign.
Ah, the arcane engine feeding the divine fury.
Exactly. So they unleash what we instantly called the Nova Strike, full action sequence, burn through, I think, 3 high-level sorcerer slots to power up 3 massive paladin smites, all in one turn.
Wow.
It wasn't just damage, it was an eruption. Pure, focused burst, perfectly engineered. It just showed how jamming that full caster resource pool from the sorcerer onto the paladin's iconic spike damage, well, it turned a probable TPK into a swift, decisive kill.
Yeah, the Sorkadin. That's the classic example of high-risk, high-reward multiclassing. Really shows the potential ceiling.
Yeah.
But okay, for you listening, you need to know this power comes with strings attached, there are prerequisites, and there's a real cost.
Right, the catch.
Yeah.
We know we lose out on getting those top-tier single-class features quickly, but can we break down that cost, that tax on progression, a bit more technically?
Sure. The main cost is that delay, primarily in 2 places. Those signature class features that come at specific levels, and spell slot progression itself. Taking levels elsewhere pushes back things like a fighter's second extra attack at level 11, or getting 9th level spells, or that ultimate level 20 capstone ability. If you dip 3 levels into Rogue, well, you're 3 levels behind your single-class buddies reaching their peak power.
Makes sense. What about the spell slots? That's where it gets complicated, right?
It does. This trips people up. You don't just add your spell slots together from both classes. No, you have to use the specific multi-class spellcaster table in the rules.
Ah, yeah, the chart.
The chart. You add up all your levels from full caster classes, wizard, sorcerer, cleric, bard. Then you add half your levels, rounded down, from half casters like paladin and ranger. And then you add 1/3 of your levels, rounded down, from third casters like eldritch knight or arcane trickster.
And that total determines your effective spellcasting level on that separate multi-class table, which tells you how many spell slots you actually have.
Exactly. It's not intuitive at first glance. You might be sorcerer 3, paladin 2, but you don't automatically get the slots of a 5th level caster. You calculate that effective level first.
Which means careful planning is vital. You want to aim for those breakpoints on the table that unlock the next tier of slots, getting access to 3rd level slots or 5th level slots efficiently.
That's the game within the game for multi-class casters, hitting those sweet spots.
Okay, and then the other gatekeeper. Ability score minimums, the rules that keep you honest, making sure you actually have the aptitude for both classes.
Right. The guide highlights this. You need at least a 13 in the main ability score for both classes you're combining. So dipping into fighter. Need 13 strength or dexterity.
Sure.
Grabbing some wizard levels, need 13 intelligence.
And for those popular Gish builds, the hybrids mixing martial and magic.
Charisma is often the key. Paladin sorcerer, warlock sorcerer, even paladin warlock. They often hinge on charisma. Having one primary stat fuel both sides of your build is incredibly efficient. It minimizes that multiple ability score dependency, or medadness as people call it, Every point you invest in charisma pulls double duty. That synergy is huge.
All right, we've set the stage, we understand the improved foundations, the cost, the prerequisites. Now let's get practical. Time to dive into 5 of the most powerful synergistic combos highlighted in the LitRPG Reads guide. We'll break down the core synergy and how to use them effectively.
Okay, moving from the why to the how, let's get into the builds. So, kicking off with the one from your anecdote. The Paladin Sorcerer, or Sorcaden, the synergy is obvious. Massive burst damage potential combined with solid reliability thanks to Paladin auras. It blends that divine certainty with raw arcane power.
And this strategy is laser focused on Divine Smite, right? Pump those sorcerer slots into Paladin Smites for huge damage spikes. Since the Paladin gets high-level slots slowly, the Sorcerer basically acts as a rocket booster for that damage.
Precisely. Now the level split is key. Most analyses, including this guide, lean towards Paladin 6 Sorcerer X. Why Paladin 6 specifically?
Aura of Protection.
Aura of Protection, that's the magic number. At level 6, the Paladin grants themselves and nearby allies a bonus to all saving throws equal to their charisma modifier. That's huge for party durability.
Right.
Once you have that defensive anchor.
You pivot hard into Sorcerer. Every level after that goes into Sorcerer to ramp up those spell slots as fast as humanly possible.
Right. And which Sorcerer subclass really makes this shine? The guide strongly points towards Divine Soul Sorcerer.
Makes sense. Double charisma synergy.
Plus, access to the Cleric spell list on top of the Sorcerer list. That's massive flexibility. You can grab essential healing like Healing Word or support spells like Bless alongside your big Sorcerer guns like Haste or Fireball.
And the tactical edge comes from meta magic, yeah.
Absolutely. Specifically, Quicken Spell. Imagine this. Bonus action, quicken a hold person, or maybe a buck spell like Shield of Faith. Then, main action, you attack. If a whole person landed, that's an automatic crit.
Which you then pour a high-level Divine Smite into.
Exactly. Doubling those smite dice on a crit. That's the Nova sequence. That manipulation of the action economy via meta magic is what pushes this from strong into encounter ending. It's really the ultimate expression of charisma, power, defense, offense, resource acceleration all tied together.
Okay, next charisma combo. Warlock Sorcerer. Sometimes called a Sorlock or Coffee Lock, depending on the interpretation. This one's about resource management, right? Sustainable power.
Yeah, the synergy here is how their resource pools complement each other, even though they work completely differently. Warlocks get their few powerful spell slots back on a short rest. Quick refresh.
While sorcerers have more slots overall, but they recharge on a long rest. But they have sorcery points.
And sorcery points are the bridge. You can convert sorcery points into spell slots using flexible casting, and crucially, you can convert warlock spell slots into sorcery points.
Ah, so the warlock slots become fuel for the sorcerer engine.
That's the core loop. During a short rest, you burn your recovered warlock slots to create sorcery points. Then the sorcerer can use those points for meta magic, or to create more low-level sorcerer spell slots. If your group takes frequent short rests, this gives you incredible mileage out of your resources throughout the day.
So what's the typical level split here?
Usually you see either Warlock 2 Sorcerer X or maybe Warlock 3 Sorcerer X. Warlock 2 is the absolute minimum. Why?
Eldritch Blast and Agonizing Blast.
Gotta have it. That gives you the best scaling damage cantrip in the game, adding your charisma modifier to each beam. It means you always have a reliable, strong ranged attack that doesn't cost spell slots. That's your baseline.
Warlock 3 gets you a Pact Boon, maybe Pact of the Tome for more cantrips, or Chain for an Imp familiar.
Exactly. Adds more utility. But the core is Warlock 2. The tactical tip then becomes leveraging that constant damage from Eldritch Blast with the Sorcerer's meta magic.
Like Quickening Eldritch Blast.
Yeah, Quicken Eldritch Blast lets you fire it off as a bonus action, leaving your main action free for a big concentration spell like Hypnotic Pattern or maybe another cantrip. Or you use Quinn Spell on something like Haste or Polymorph to affect 2 allies. It allows for really dynamic turns, blending sustained damage with battlefield control or support, high impact, very flexible. All right, shifting gears away from the charisma casters, let's talk martial synergy. Yeah, fighter rogue. This feels like pure tactical precision, action economy, and crit fishing. Pretty much. The absolute core synergy comes from the fighter's action surge, getting a whole extra action once per short rest. That's unmatched action economy right there. It opens up so many possibilities in a single turn.
And the strategy is all about maximizing the rogue's main damage source. Sneak attack. That single big hit that the guide mentions can drop monsters way bigger than the rogue.
Right. Sneak attack is the payload. Now, how you combine them tactically, That's where it gets interesting. Level splits matter. Going Fighter 5 gets you extra attack, which means 2 chances to land that hit and trigger sneak attack each turn. More reliability.
But that delays sneak attack dice progressions significantly.
It does, which is why a very common and often recommended split is just Fighter 2 Rogue X. You grab Action Surge, maybe a fighting style like archery or 2-weapon fighting, and then you go full rogue to maximize those sneak attack dice as quickly as possible.
What about Fighter 3 for a subclass?
If you go to Fighter 3, Battle Master is the standout choice. Those maneuvers add another layer of tactical control. You can use, say, a trip attack on your first hit,
Knock them prone, gain advantage.
guaranteeing sneak attack on your second hit, or with Action Surge. Or use pushing attack to shove them into a hazard or away from an ally. It adds control and helps set up your damage.
So a tactical tip might be, don't just use Action Surge for raw damage. Use it for setup and escape. Maybe move in, use your main action, perhaps a Battle Master maneuver, or even just a standard attack to get sneak attack. Then, bonus action, cunning action to disengage. And then use the Action Surge action to dash, completely clear.
Exactly, you become this incredibly slippery skirmisher. You dart in, deliver a potent blow, and vanish before they can effectively retaliate. You control the engagement, maximize that one big hit, and stay safe. It rewards smart positioning and timing.
Okay, combo 4. This one feels different. Cleric Wizard, not about burst damage, more about preparation, utility, combining divine power and arcane knowledge.
Yeah, this is the ultimate prepare for anything build. Maximum spell versatility. But, and it's a big but, this combo has the biggest hurdle. Ability scores. You need good intelligence for your wizard spells and good wisdom for your cleric spells and features.
Oof, that sounds really MAD, multiple ability score dependent. How do you even manage that without dumping your physical stats completely? Seems tough to pull off.
It is tough. The guide acknowledges this. It usually requires rolling really well for stats, using specific races that boost 2 mental stats, or maybe accepting that your constitution won't be stellar. You're definitely building a backline character here. A controller, a support unit, not a frontliner.
So you lean into the strengths that don't rely purely on high stats?
Exactly. The strategy is maximizing your prepared spells and your overall spell list access. The wizard brings the biggest, most versatile spell list in the game. Tons of utility, control, ritual casting. Think Detect Magic, Identify, Llewellyn's Tiny Hut, Counterspell.
And the cleric brings the divine essentials. Healing, buffs, domain spells.
Right. Critical support like Healing Word, Bless, Shield of Faith, Spiritual Weapon. Plus, cleric domains often give you powerful features or extra prepared spells that are always useful.
Which subclasses help mitigate the stat strain?
You look for cleric domains that give great benefits even with a moderate wisdom score. Life domain is a classic. Its bonus healing doesn't rely on wisdom. Peace domain's emboldening bond is incredibly strong party support. Order domain can weaponize bonus actions when you cast spells on allies.
And for the wizard side?
Subclasses like Divination, with its portents feature changing 2 die rolls per day, is always amazing. Or Chronergy for chronal shift forcing rerolls. These abilities are powerful regardless of your intelligence score, though higher int still helps with spell save DCs obviously. The big tactical tip here though is abusing the wizard's ritual casting. You can keep a massive library of utility spells in your wizard spellbook, Identify, Detect Magic, Water Breathing, all that good stuff, and cast them as rituals without ever preparing them.
Saving your prepared slots for the cleric's must-have healing and buffs, and the wizard's combat control spells.
Exactly. You become the ultimate toolkit. You combine the wizard's unparalleled utility and ritual casting with the cleric's essential divine support and defense. You might not have the highest single stat focus, but you potentially have an answer for almost any situation the party faces. Planner's dream.
Okay, last one. Back to dex-based mayhem. Monk Rogue. This sounds like pure speed and agility. Mobility is king, and this character wears the crown.
That's a good way to put it. Both classes are heavily dexterity focused, and both make excellent use of their bonus action for movement and tactical tricks. Monks use Key for things like Step of the Wind for extra dash disengage, or Patient Defense for dodge. Plus, their core movement speed increases.
And rogues get cunning action dash, disengage, or hide as a bonus action every turn. Free.
Right, so the synergy is about layering those mobility options on top of each other and combining the monk's multiple attacks with the rogue's sneak attack damage. You become incredibly hard to pin down.
The strategy is battlefield control through movement. Dictating positioning, always having the angle, always being where the enemy isn't.
And the mechanics blend really well. Monk's Flurry of Blows costs a key point, but gives you 2 extra unarmed strikes as a bonus action. Rogue sneak attack adds a big chunk of damage once per turn when you have advantage or an ally nearby.
So you use your speed to get into position, maybe get advantage, land your main attack plus sneak attack, then bonus action flurry of blows for 2 more hits.
Exactly. Or maybe you attack, trigger sneak attack, then use your bonus action for cunning action to disengage and melt away, or use Step of the Wind to dash even further. You have options every turn.
What about level splits? Monk 5 seems important for extra attack and stunning strike.
Monk 5 is a very common power spike, yeah. Extra attack doubles your chances to land sneak attack, and stunning strike is just a fantastic control option. So Monk 5 Rogue X is a strong path, focusing on Monk features first.
Alternatively,
If we go Monk 1 or 2 Rogue X, just dipping Monk gets you unarmored defense, potentially better AC if your Dex and Winds are high, and martial arts for bonus action arm strikes. Monk 2 adds Ki for Step of the Wind and patient defense. This prioritizes sneak attack scaling.
and Rogue subclass. Does one stand out?
Thief is particularly potent here. Their fast hands feature at level 3 lets them use an object action as a bonus action. More importantly, at higher levels, their supreme sneak gives advantage on stealth checks, and use magic device adds versatility. But even just the core Rogue Monk chassis is strong.
So the tactical tip is, use your superior mobility and bonus action economy to constantly outmaneuver opponents. Hit and run, lock down key targets with stunning strike if you have it, and leverage flurry of blows to maximize damage output after landing that sneak attack. Play chess at double speed. You're basically untouchable if played right.
Okay, wow. 5 incredibly powerful builds there, really dissecting the mechanics behind why they work, why they can feel almost game-breaking sometimes. But before we wrap up, we have to circle back to something the source material really emphasizes, and it's important. Optimization shouldn't kill the fun.
Absolutely critical. The mathematically best character on paper means nothing if you don't actually enjoy playing them session after session. That right choice. It's the one that makes you excited to sit down at the table. Sometimes the weird, slightly suboptimal mix creates the most memorable hero.
Totally agree. But okay, say you are chasing that peak performance. You want to squeeze every last drop of power out of your hybrid build. We need to talk about feats. Feats are like turbochargers for these multi-class concepts, right? They patch holes and amplify strength. Exactly. Especially for multi-class builds, feats can be crucial for shoring up weaknesses created by spreading your levels thin. Let's give a couple of concrete examples the guide might implicitly support.
Go for it.
Okay, first, for those caster hybrids, especially the charisma ones like Sorkaden or Sorlock who rely on concentration spells, you absolutely need to protect that concentration. Getting hit and losing your big spell is devastating.
So, Warcaster.
Warcaster is great advantage on con saves for concentration, casting spells as opportunity attacks, but often you pair it with Resilient Constitution.
Why both?
Resilient, C-on-N, gives you proficiency in Constitution saving throws. Proficiency bonus scales with your total level, not class level. So even if your con score isn't amazing, proficiency adds a significant scaling bonus. Having both proficiency and advantage makes you incredibly reliable at holding on to those crucial concentration spells. It's almost mandatory for frontline or midline casters.
Okay, good tip. What about for the martial hybrids, like that Monk Rogue?
For the Monk Rogue, or even the Fighter Rogue Skirmisher, the mobile feat is just fantastic. It boosts your speed even further, lets you ignore difficult terrain when you dash, and the big one, if you make a melee attack against a creature, you don't provoke opportunity attacks from that creature for the rest of the turn, hit or miss.
So that guarantees the hit and run tactic. Attack, then just walk away freely.
Precisely. It makes that skirmishing style incredibly safe and fluid. It doubles down on the core strength of the build untouchable mobility. Feats are about identifying your build's core strategy or its key weakness and amplifying or patching it.
Engineering around the potential problems. Makes sense.
And that leads right into the final, maybe the most important piece of advice from the guide. Talk to your babe.
Louder for the people in the back.
Seriously. Communication is everything. You can craft the most mathematically perfect, synergistic masterpiece on paper, but it's completely useless if it doesn't fit the campaign, the party, the DM style.
Yeah, you built the ultimate Sorlock resource engine expecting lots of short rests, but the DM runs marathon dungeon crawls with maybe 1 short rest per day. Half your engine is stalled.
Or your super optimized damage dealer overshadows everyone else so much that it's not fun for the rest of the party. You have to talk to your DM about the kind of character you're building. Talk to your party about how you envision working together. Synergy isn't just about your character sheet, it's about how your character meshes with the living, breathing game world and the people you're playing with.
Don't be afraid to adjust or even rebuild if your concept just isn't gelling with the actual game. The goal is collective fun, right?
That's the ultimate goal. The power of these builds is cool, but using that power to enhance everyone's experience, that's the real win. The legend isn't just numbers, it's the story you create together. Hashtag tag outro.
So there you have it. The puzzle pieces are laid out. We've looked under the hood at how to blend classes for serious power-accelerating spell slots, bending action economy, becoming an untouchable blur. The path is there. The real question we want to leave you with, listener, is this. Are you going to stick to the script? Honor the legend written in the core rulebook? Or are you going to chase that spark of invention? Pursue the joy, maybe the chaos, and definitely the power that comes from unexpected synergy. What kind of myth are you going to build?
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into class synergy, drawing from that great LitRPG Reads guide. We really hope these combos and tactical tips give you an edge or at least some inspiration for your next character or campaign.
Yeah, huge thanks again to LitRPG Reads for putting together such comprehensive guides, and definitely a friendly shout out to Paul Bello, fine fellow indeed, for all the work they do in the TTRPG and LitRPG space. We'd love to hear from you. What are your favorite multi-class builds? What are the specific level dips or feat combos that make them sing? Drop them in the comments below.
Let us know.
We'll catch you on the next LitRPG adventure.